What up, Rocky students? How is everyone? Wonderful this Wednesday night, I hope. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Christy Beal, aka Soullux is my gamer online tag that some people know me by. But I first and foremost absolutely love God, and I have given my life to Jesus. And then secondly, I am a gamer with a gamer tag. What do you know? I love to play PC games, console games, board games, all of the games. So I am here to simply share my story because God works through our stories and our testimonies, and share how God and gaming has kind of come together in my life. So I once was a student, very much so like you. I went to a Christian high school here in Colorado, and then I went to a Christian college out in Los Angeles, and I studied film, actually. And so I have just constantly been learning about God and Jesus and who he is basically my whole life. But I very distinctly remember one day in college, we were at chapel. We were all supposed to get a Bible minor, and part of that was having so many hours of chapel. So that was just like an hour in the morning listening to a guest speaker. And this speaker had asked us to raise our hands if we had read through the entire Bible. And I remember being shocked at how few of us there were that raised our hands. And I was like, what on earth? I trust in you people. And you're saying Christianity is based off the Bible, and none of us have read it? I mean, I was completely guilty as well. I also did not raise my hand. But it really started to make me question, why do I believe what I believe? Because it is very easy to follow the trend and the people that are around you with whatever that may be. Culturally, spiritually, whatever it is. And so I realized if I was born in India, I would probably be a Hindu because that's the popular thing over there. So I really wanted to know, gosh, is Jesus truth? So I challenged myself to read the entire Bible. And so I got a Bible that was set up to read it in 1 year. Now, I'm a gamer, guys, not a reader, okay? I am not the person in Skyrim that's running around collecting all the books to read all of the lore that's in Skyrim. Like, I just want to find all the dragon shouts, okay? I did not want to read the Bible. And plus, you know, it's old, it's not cool, like, ugh, come on. But I recognized that this was just important. This was one of those things, and it was a challenge I was willing to give myself. I also realized because I didn't like to read, but I was better at listening, maybe a podcast would be better. So that's what I ended up doing, and I successfully, it didn't take a year, it took longer than a year, but I have read through the entire Bible twice now. And I learned so many cool things. One, just how the Bible is actually written, how it's an historical document that has been proven by archaeological evidence. I read prophecies that were indeed written hundreds of years before they actually came true. How's that possible? There's tons of miracles that are unexplainable that the Bible talks about that, you know, God is still doing amazing miracles to this day. So I was convinced that yes, Jesus is truth. There really is a God who loves me, who wants to be with me, who made me, and who loves me. It's just amazing. And so I, in return, just wanted to make him proud. And I see God as this loyal, mighty king who calls me a daughter, and I just want to serve him and put a smile on his face. And I want to hear, good job, faithful servant. That's it. That's what I want to hear. And so there was this one point in my life where I decided, you know, it's not about me. It really isn't. This life is not about ourselves. It's very easy to be selfish, but it's not about me. And so to give up everything I want to do, all of my goals and dreams and desires, and to just follow God, which is actually, following all of your own to-dos and trying to make sure that they're all crossed off and done is very anxiety inducing. And so to just lay it all on the table, give it up and be like, God, use me how you see fit and let the adventure begin is honestly so much more freeing. And so I did. I said, let the adventure begin. And somehow, I never thought it would be possible, but God brought in my hobby of gaming into alignment with my desire to follow him. And I was given the opportunity to be a media director for a gamer church. So it was also going to be my job. And this church was called God Squad Church. And this is what the church did. It was pretty cool. Basically, we realized, gamers, they're not going to get themselves to church. A lot of them like to stay home and they like to game. And so we need to come to them. And we recognized a lot of gamers are on Twitch. So all of our services were on Twitch and YouTube as well, and completely digital so that we could enter their space and their realm. And our church services were pretty typical. We had worship and a sermon and things like that. But the sermon was catered to gamers and had specific gaming terminology and talked about specific games and related the Bible to our gaming life. And then we also did things like we held gaming events so that people who were like, church, I don't do the whole church thing, but I'm willing to play a game with you. We would have game events to invite everybody in because we knew, the gaming world is very toxic. And so when a gamer who is lonely and used to being yelled at all the time and not encouraged comes into our community and we game with them, and then all of a sudden they hear positive things and they're encouraged and they're not alone and they're having fun, they realize, wow, there's something different about you guys. And then we can tell them about Jesus once they're open to that. So that was pretty cool. And gamers are also usually nerdy as well. So we dove into other sides of things, like we had D&D pop up. And so we tried to do a little bit of like a D&D type ministry where we would play D&D together and invite people in and tell people about Jesus that way. I also became a streamer, something I never even really knew existed or ever thought I would do, but I was helping lead the services and I was streaming during the week through something we call Daily Reconnect, so we could just connect with our community. And I was on Tuesdays and I was just supposed to game and talk to the community. And so here I was streaming. So I definitely learned through this whole experience that you really can take anything and turn it into a ministry, which is just simply an opportunity to share the gospel. And so this was great. This was awesome. And it was so cool to see how God could work through that. And another thing that God did that, we had a plan, which was to tell gamers about Jesus. But even in that, God was like, oh, that's your plan, but I'm actually going to also help you guys reach people with disabilities. And what we didn't realize is that a lot of people don't go to church because they're disabled in so many different ways where they can't go to a physical church. And yes, churches stream their services online, but their whole entire community is not also online. So we also had our events and our Bible studies and even our talking through Discord was all accessible to these people. And so they could actually be a part of the church. And so that was really cool to see God taking something where we had a specific purpose and turning it into another purpose for himself. And so, yeah, I had been doing that the last 2.5 years about. And, God Squad Church's numbers were never that high. It's not a big church. It's digital, so you can see how many people are there. God Squad Church's numbers have always remained small. And I think in this world of social media, there's definitely a lot of pressure of like, you need big numbers and you need to be famous and you need to do things that are popular.
I know about popularity. popular.
Yeah, wicked. Speaking of popular things right now, anyone? But for God, it is not about the numbers. It is not about the fame. He doesn't work that way. We're not meant to be the famous ones. Jesus is the famous one. And we are meant to be his support. And so I have come to a place where I realize, and I'm constantly telling myself, it is not about me. I do not deserve the fame. Jesus, he is the famous one. And I'm working to help his name be known, not mine. I want to make him proud. In being a support, I think God chooses the ordinary, the normal, the who you are to reach whoever you can, even if that's just one. Because for that one person, if you reach them, tell them about the gospel, their entire world gets flipped upside down and their life is changed. Changed for the better. Okay, I need to stop this whole wicked thing. I don't know. That's funny. But yes, their life has been changed. And so that's something else I've also told myself, like, if my entire life, and I spent so much hard work working to make sure people know about Jesus, and I only reach one person, it's totally worth it. Because for them, it means everything. And if all of us reached one person, think about it, the entire world would be reached. And so actually, it's so much better too for that one person to be able to come to us, people who have time to listen, time to connect, and to build a relationship with them, versus just have a reel that is totally viral on the internet. That is not valuable. That time and connection is so much more valuable. Speaking of streaming, I know that was a while ago, but I like to watch live streams, but not of gamers on Twitch. I like to watch live streams of Disney streamers, people who walk around Disneyland and Disney World, because I love to feel like I'm there. I'm a huge Disney fan, okay? And so Disneyland right now, they have a show called The World of Color, and their show right now, its theme is called One.
You have the power to make a difference. It just takes one.
So if you love it, go watch it. Find it on YouTube. It's great. It just takes one life to reach another one life. And that is so, so important. And so I want to leave you with this. A Bible verse. Let's get into the Bible. Speaking of the Bible and how Christian faith is based on the Bible. In Acts, we are seeing how Jesus's disciples are continuing to tell people about who Jesus is after his death. And so in Acts 4:13 specifically, it says, when they saw the courage of Peter and John, so when the people saw Peter and John, the disciples, and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men, they were astonished and took note that these men had been with Jesus. God works with us, the ordinary. So whatever your hobbies are, whoever you are, God made you and he loves you and he wants to work with that. So you don't have to be this crazy, amazing person. The unschooled and the ordinary is who Jesus likes to work with. And so that gives me courage because I definitely feel super ordinary. So that's what I have for you. That's my story. So go share your story and make your king